All right, music fans and fans of me going after idiots in the media, welcome. Harmless Dave here, totally harmless, talking about real music and real idiocracy in real time for a few real people just like you and just like me. So, the last 24 hours, story breaks about Eric Clapton and the widow. The widow, the woman who sold her late husband's, as they put in the article, her dead husband. They don't put late husband, they put dead. They want you to make sure that you know that she's a widow. She's a poor, helpless widow. And her husband is dead. Okay. And she was just trying to make a few bucks on this bootleg CD that her husband purchased. She threw it onto eBay. Okay, full stop. For all of you in the media who are acting all indignant that how could Eric Clapton's team or Eric himself go after this woman? She was doing something illegal. Just want to throw it out there. So petty crime, and this is what's happening in San Francisco. Hey, you want to loot a store? We'll give you a $900 credit. Go for it. Grab all you need for at least $900 worth of stuff. I think it might be higher. I don't know. I thought it was 900. It might be lower, but it's still a number that I think is correct. And even if it's not exactly correct, the principle is, it's not a big crime, just a little crime. And so we allow that. You know, if you get away with that much merchandise, go for it. And this is the mentality today. How could Eric Clapton allow this? Eric Clapton had nothing to do with it. His team, the people that he hires, and here's the difference between Eric Clapton and Don Henley. So I know for a fact Don Henley does this stuff too. And I've supported some of his efforts, even though I think he's a little bit of a cantankerous guy, right? I've supported Eric Clapton because he is also just doing what I think is technically right. But, you know, the dollar amount, what was it, like $11 or something like that she had it listed for. And I don't know if it was going to be sold or not. I don't know all the details there, but I do know that their focus on Eric Clapton is because of his restaurant experience, right? Again, this will be like the 10th time I've done this analogy, and it's bad. It's a crappy analogy. I'm lousy at this. Just want to let everybody know. Don't come to me for analogies, okay? But here we go. So Eric Clapton goes into this restaurant, and everybody seems to be dining there, and everybody is just like oblivious, and they're just thinking, everybody's doing this, so Eric, you ought to go to this restaurant. So he goes, he gets what he's supposed to get from this restaurant. The food kind of sucks. He has a bit of a reaction after he dines. And what he does next is the most unthinkable thing in the eyes of the news media. He actually tells people about his experience. Holy crap, Batman. How could he do this? How could he be so irresponsible? Doesn't he know he ought to be suppressing his reaction for the greater good? Oh my gosh, people, this is where we're at. So, and then, you know, you've got my other analogy here, which I haven't really talked about too much. So I bring my car to a muffler shop, right? And the muffler's loud. And I tell the mechanic, can you please fix this? I come back, I get the car. He said, all fixed. I drive away and the muffler still sounds the same. So I bring it back. I say, hey, you said you're going to fix this. So I did fix it. It's just that you need a muffler booster. Muffler booster. Okay, thank you. So again, he gives me the muffler booster. I drive away. And sure enough, just a few days later, the muffler starts to sound really loud. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should figure out a way to fix this muffler myself. You can't fix mufflers. You have no idea how to do that. Well, I'm going to do some research. Well, the Washington Post says you shouldn't be researching mufflers. It's dangerous. You don't know what you're doing. But these people who told me that if I brought my car here, that the muffler would get fixed, right? And I have to keep bringing it back every few days in, the larger time frame. You could say a few weeks, a few months. However you want to look at it, it's still the same thing. It's still exactly the same thing. You told me that I could have my car back and I could drive anywhere I wanted to, and things would be as good as new if I kept taking muffler boosters, right? The muffler booster. And sure enough, my car is still running like crap, is still loud. And I'm thinking maybe I should just fix it myself, right? And they're telling you can't. So these are two competing analogies here. The one where I had the bad experience at the restaurant, that's Eric Clapton. The other one is the general population, that they're all going to the same muffler place and they're being told, just come back every 3 months for the muffler booster. And I'm thinking, oh, wow, a muffler booster. That sounds like it would finally fix this problem. But the media, here's the thing about the media, right? You literally can't have experiences outside of what they want you to experience. Bottom line about this issue with Eric Clapton and the widow, right? This is all about just stringing a bunch of events together. Eric Clapton, there's a pattern in his life. They're going back again to Derek and the Dominoes and the dude who killed his mother. And that's Eric Clapton's fault. That's Eric Clapton's fault that the guy had undiagnosed schizophrenia. That's his fault. He should have known. He made a bad decision. The guy says, how could Eric Clapton be such a wanker? When did he become such a wanker? All right, here's my rebuttal to that moron, right? When the media started hammering him about his experience, that's when he became a wanker to you all. He isn't a wanker. He's a 76-year-old guitar legend who is getting a bunch of crap because he did what he was told and then things didn't go as planned. That's why you and everybody else in the media are attacking this guy. What you ought to be doing is asking yourself, when did I become such a wanker? Why should I care so much about this man? Because he's got influence, because people like his music, because he's still relevant, because whether you like it or not, This Has Gotta Stop is one of the best songs of 2021. It is, just throwing it out there. And the Christmas tune is probably going to continue along that same excellent, high quality songwriting, playing, and musical journey that Eric Clapton has been on his entire career. Oh, but he continues to make bad choices. He's got an evil songwriter, this guy Rob, who's writing lyrics, and he's a skeptic. Really? So again, we can't have differing opinions in this world. We have to comment. If you're not a skeptic, you don't get labeled as anything. But if you're a skeptic, which is a lousy and ridiculous word, right? It doesn't mean anything. Well, I'm a climate skeptic. What? I don't believe that there's climate. I mean, what are you talking about? Are you a climate change skeptic? No, I believe the climate changes all the time. I just think there's really not a whole lot that you and I can do about it right now. Well, you need to stop breathing. That's the way you fix this. If you stop breathing, in fact, breathing is a real problem these days. If you would stop breathing, see how this is all linked? If you stop breathing, then number one, you won't destroy the climate. And number two, you'll be dead, so you won't get sick anymore. This is genius. I wish I had thought of this 30 years ago. Because again, like George Carlin said in a sketch, the only way you can solve the problem is to just eliminate yourself. That's all you can do. And these people, though, these oligarchs, these media moguls, for some reason, they'll all still be here. They will have bypassed all of the rules that they put out for everyone else. They'll still be here. And they'll be thinking to themselves, man, our plan worked really well. These people bought this hook, line, and sinker. You know what, folks? Eric Clapton doesn't deserve the crap that he's getting. The more I think you antagonize Eric Clapton, the more likely it is that he's going to be around making music for a very long time. And I don't think he's going to just go quietly into the night. Gee, I wish he would just retire in a dignified way. Well, he is very dignified right now. And the fact that he's been this restrained is really remarkable. Because to pin this whole widow CD on him directly shows a real lack of integrity and intellectual fortitude. These people don't even know like how, the music business works. In other words, yes, Eric Clapton, he's got people. Don Henley, he's got people. Of course, they'll never go after Henley because, he believes that the only way you can have freedom is if you get a QR code, violate the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, violate your privacy, violate all your rights. That's the only way. That's it. And it's really remarkable that these people aren't smart enough because they don't think this way. They think, oh, we need to fix this problem. It's for the greater good. We have to further this globalist agenda so we can basically own nothing by 2030 and we'll all be so happy and we'll eat bugs. This is the future. This is what they want for you. And this is all because of just evil, greedy people. That's all I can say. I don't even know anymore. It's psychosis, it's mind control, it's global hypnosis. It's insane. And people need to wake up or you're going to lose everything that you have. Everything that you have that's valuable, not CDs, but relationships, contacts with people, the family structure, all of it out the window. They don't want to see this anymore. What they want to see is compliance, obedience, and they want to be able to control people. And they use the media, and the media goes along because, there's that old saying, well, I'm not a Jew, so they didn't come for me, and I'm not this, and they didn't come for me. They'll eventually get to you. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. They'll get to you at some point, and you'll say to yourself, wow, I played your game for all these years, and I really thought that these people would leave me alone. But they didn't, because they want power and they want control. And they'll use what they call useful idiots for as long as they'll obey them. They'll use them, and then they'll cast them aside when they're no longer needed. Anyway, all that, when it's just about a CD that was bootlegged and sold, and to portray this guy again in a negative light just serves their purpose. Again, deconstructing Eric Clapton. And it's real sad to watch. And it's also kind of lonely to be doing this because nobody else seems to care about what's happening to this guy. And you think the world would wake up and say, hey, that's Eric Clapton. What are you doing to him? He doesn't deserve this. He hasn't. Look, he's made mistakes in his life. I'm sure he'll tell you he'll be the first person to tell you that he's made mistakes. But, he's conquered substance abuse. He has a stable life from what we can, see of it. And I don't understand this obsession because he's hanging around with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Oh, no. The Kennedys in the old days, if he were hanging out with Edward Kennedy, it'd be like, oh, Eric Clapton, he gets it, or, those Kennedys in Massachusetts, the ones I think that are still in Congress or at the local level, wherever they're at in politics. If he were, hanging around with those Kennedys, it would be okay. But Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who takes after his late father, not dead father, his late father, that's the way you're supposed to write it. Okay. You can't have the Kennedys from the 1960s because those were civil rights oriented Kennedys and civil liberties. And that stuff has gone completely out the window. In any event, I'm done. I'm overdue, and I will see you soon.